Michelle, thanks. Well, back to the coronavirus. Going back to school this fall could be stressful for both parents and students, as so many things still remain uncertain. Here to talk about it with us and have some helpful ways to cope is Dr. McLear, a clinical psychologist from Vive Psych Greenville. Doctor, thanks for being with us again this morning. Well, my first question, I know school districts just announced that their plans for the fall. There's still a lot of uncertainty around these plans. What do you think is the best way for some of the families to handle this uncertainty as they really kind of take things week by week?
I think the biggest thing is focusing on what you can control, what you do know right now, and making a plan for it. So starting to prepare your child and talking about how school will be different from what you know, and not get too fixated on any one plan, because things are changing so rapidly.
Yeah, and we know that there's been a lot of details coming out here and there. What are some of the biggest, I guess, back-to-school concerns that you're hearing from parents and children, and what do you want to tell them in terms of dealing with some of those concerns?
I think the biggest one I've heard from both parents and children is just the unpredictability of the school schedule. Parents are also concerned about just difficulties of social distancing, as well as just what happens if we have to go back to more virtual learning. More concerned about not being in the same group as their friends, as well as how different school will look like. So I've just been telling them really make a plan for all of the areas, and again, focus on what you can control, and then talk about why some of these safety precautions are in place and why it's important.
And we know some students actually might be having anxiety as they get ready to go back to school, but so will the parents. I mean, this is going to be twofold. What can adults do to manage their anxiety and also be there to support their kids in this whole process?
Well, definitely. We know it's so important for parents to manage their anxiety so that they can model for kids healthy coping of anxiety, and just gives kids a sense of security. So with parents, it's practicing self-care, knowing when to ask for help, again, focusing on what they can control. And then if they're really feeling overwhelmed, consult a professional. And then for their kids, it's talking with them about coping skills, creating routines, and then also just practicing some of the difficult situations like wearing masks and, the social distancing stuff, so kids become more familiar with it, and letting kids talk about worries too.
Absolutely, and we always say kids will do what you do, not what you say, so kind of showing by example is a helpful way to lead. Now, we do know that you have a webinar coming up that's about girls and young women and their return to school. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can sign up.
So yeah, this webinar is called Onward, and it's going to be led by Jennings Davis, one of our licensed counselors here at Vive. It's today and tomorrow for rising 9th grade girls, and it's going to focus on just transitioning to high school, all the different challenges that arise from that, whether it's social relationships or talking to teachers or just becoming in school, talking about some of those emotions and difficulties around high school. And so to sign up, you just go to our Facebook or Instagram, and there's a link there. And so, it's a great series. We run it a couple times.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad. I hope a lot of young women and maybe parents can help sign up and check in on that webinar. Dr. McLear, thanks so much for being with us this morning.